Hello, friends. Today, we're going to talk about the newest strategist arriving in the Marvel Rivals lineup, the Invisible Woman. I have no doubt that she'll quickly become a staple strategist to every single team in Season 1, and this video will explain why. Her kit is very unique as far as strategists go, and the arrival of herself and Mr. Fantastic further solidify in my mind that the wording for each category of heroes is unique to this hero shooter for a reason. The Invisible Woman might be a healer first and foremost, but the aggressiveness of her kit leads me to believe even more so that a 3-strategist team is more viable than ever before and could easily be a strong, workable meta. But without further ado, let's get into some tips and tricks for playing her in the most optimal way. Sue's passive is Invisibility, which is only active as long as she isn't attacking or using any abilities. It can be activated via a double jump, which is on a 6-second cooldown, or by not attacking or using abilities for 6 seconds. Sue's primary attack, or projection, is a force field that pierces foes, flying to a maximum distance before returning to her, damaging enemies and healing teammates along its path. This means that her attack and healing has penetration through multiple targets, both enemy and friendly. Her shift, Psionic Vortex, is an AoE attack around the same size as Scarlet Witch's E. You can press the shift key a second time to deploy it at the distance that you need, and it erupts into a vortex which draws in enemies and deals damage simultaneously. It can be utilized on flyers to deal passive damage while you assist your team as well, or on stationary targets such as Hela and Hawkeye. Her E, Force Physics, is a manipulation of sonic energy that allows you to either push enemies backwards with left click or pull them towards you with right click. You know what this means, another way to push people over the edge. Not listed on the screen during combat is her melee, default V, but it is unique in the way that it unleashes a combo when used 3 times in succession, and the last hit causes a force push, which will be helpful for aggressive enemies such as Iron Fist or Thor. Her right-click, Guardian Shield, allows you to create a force field in front of a targeted ally. It heals that ally, every ally around it, and slows enemies that pass through it. You can move this shield constantly as it has no cooldown until its health bar is depleted, making it an incredibly useful tool to utilize often and move to any place you notice a deficit in healing. Finally, we have her ultimate, Invisible Boundary. This is a large AoE force field that renders allies undetectable to enemies outside of it and healing allies inside of it. This is most helpful to use against ultimates from characters such as Iron Man, Hela, Hawkeye, Magneto, and Punisher. Take note that once an enemy walks inside of the force field, your allies are no longer invisible to them, so be careful about when you choose to utilize this ultimate, though there is something to be said about the strength of the AoE healing itself and using the ability strictly for that when necessary. Now we can get into some of the technical aspects of using her kit. Like Loki, using her invisibility will be invaluable for self-healing or escaping in a pinch when needed. It can be tricky to stay in the state, as out of habit you might constantly want to be using your primary fire abilities. Positioning yourself in a way where your primary fire is healing allies and damaging enemies will be your strongest asset with her kit, allowing you to do the work of 2 people on a team at once and being a strong assist to someone struggling with being singled out. Always having your shield on someone on the front line, ideally a vanguard, is your best bet, as you can constantly assist a larger group of allies with passive healing. The shield only has a 4-second cooldown, and being able to move it to a target in danger in a pinch will make all the difference, as you can constantly do this as long as it still has health. Once the health is depleted, that is when the cooldown activates. Using Sue's shift ability to apply pressure to the most annoying enemy is your best choice, and I often found myself utilizing it on Iron Man or stationary attackers such as Hela or Hawkeye, as it forces them to move to avoid taking damage. You can also use it on aggressive tanks, and if anyone attempts to leave this force field, you can use your Force Physics, E, to push or pull them back into the force field. Of course, you can also use Force Physics to push enemies off an edge when convenient, push them away from yourself or others when you need to remove pressure, or even in push or pull enemies into an ultimate ability or AoE from an ally to continue to have them take damage. Finally, using her ultimate should be done so carefully and with thought. While it is a strong healing buff, knowing the ultimates of your enemy team and placing it at just the right moment could save your entire team from an otherwise devastating attack. Looking at you, Iron Man. All this said, her kit is very technical and will take some time to get a feel for it and master. There are a lot of abilities, and learning to use them in tandem will come with a great reward. You will undoubtedly be one of the most useful people on your team. With all this said, I strongly believe we'll see Invisible Woman on nearly every team this season due to the versatility of her kit. Hopefully some of this helps you, and if it did, feel free to leave a like, subscribe, or even come watch me live on Twitch, most days starting at 11 a.m. Eastern. Same name is on here. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye!